The sound is like a whispering sound. The wind blows through the cedars and it reminds me of a whispering. I don't know how else to describe it. This type of soil that it grows in has been probably millions of years accumulating from rotten logs and vegetation. That's the only place cedar will grow. So I would call it harvesting cedar. It's just like harvesting cranberries or anything else. You're cutting the logs and sawing them up to produce lumber, so I would call it harvesting. I work with my son. He runs a mill, and I help him get the logs and the heavy work, and then he takes it from there.
Well, we do most of our logging in the North Branch, Forked River. Most of your swamps in New Jersey have been gutted from the outside. People come in, they grab a load here, 50 foot, 100 feet in the woods. But if your swamp is 600, 800 foot wide, and leaves you stripped down the middle, 400 foot. You put a road down the middle of that, you got 200 foot on each side. It's pretty handy, and it's
called a crossway. I don't know of any other names that it could be used. It's another name for a road across the swamp. Some of the crossways do have names, especially the ones that are permanent. They used them years ago to haul wood and charcoal across the swamp, and they would have names like Frankie's Crossway and Collins Crossway, where the roads that I make are just temporary, strictly to get the logs out, and then they are abandoned.
We work with the wind, you know, it's a little advantage. You try to push them against the wind, and you got to work twice as hard. We cut so much on the side, and then we shut down and trim them up with an axe. If they're close by, I'll measure them up, and Dad cut them off.
My son uses the measuring stick to measure the logs so they can be cut up into different lengths.
It'll make you old fast out there in the woods. It's like you're walking on a mattress. Brush is up and down, and you go out there and you work a day, you're tired when you come home.
They used oxen and they used horses to get the cedar out. Of course, they used wagons. I used the old method, and I just used one piece of equipment to get the cedar out.
It's an old Army truck. He bought it pretty close to 30 years ago. I was about 7 years old, I think, when I started helping out, working with the winch.
We use a winch to winch the logs up on the truck. We can load 3 or 4 at a time with a winch. It saves a lot of work to do it that way.
See, with our truck, it's one move. We go in there with a truck, and then the next time we drop the logs off, it's right at the mill, right on the skids.
The sawmill is approximately 6 miles from the cedar swamp, and that's all rough woods roads. So it takes us almost an hour to get there.
It's an old timer. He picked up the motor. He used to run the hangar in Lakehurst. And the mill's even older yet. The mill was built around 1900, I guess it was new. I don't think anybody else could run it. Just the way you got to push it. It's a hard thing to operate. It takes a touch now. I saw the butts for boat lumber, maybe decoy wood or something that people carve or they can't use knots in. Usually the top part of the tree gets small, so I'll cut a 4x4 or something like that out of it.
This is the regeneration of another forest, another cedar stand, and it takes so much sunlight and so much moisture for these to germinate, and the conditions are just right for the tree to grow. So this is the beginning of another cedar stand. In 100 years, another 100 years, we'll cut it off.
It's nice when you turn the chainsaws off and get the axe out. It's the old-fashioned way. You know, you got the axe and you don't hear anything that was made the last 50 years.
What I like about it is it's a lot of fresh air. And I'm just an outdoors person. I just don't like four walls.